Hi everyone, and welcome to another session of Drop-In Drawing. In this virtual sketching program, we're bringing the Met to you with a series of drawing exercises meant to challenge and grow your creative skills. My name is Karina, and I'm a program associate for family and teen programs, and I'm also a grad student studying art and art education. Today we're drawing cats, so if you have a feline friend or other pet, you can use them as a model for your drawings. We'll be focusing on the technique of foreshortening. Let's look at these two drawings by Edouard Manet. Manet was a 19th century French painter. He was unconventional in both his modern subject matter, which featured everyday and urban life, as well as his style, which rejected the accepted academic style of painting. He also influenced younger artists of his time, namely the Impressionists, and today many historians consider Manet to be the father of modernism. Manet created both of these drawings in 1861 using graphite pencil on ivory-colored paper. The edges of the paper appear uneven, as if they were torn from a larger page, and both drawings measure about 4 to 5 inches on every side. This first drawing is entitled "A Cat Curled Up Sleeping," and the cat it depicts takes up about half of the page. The cat's backside is closest to the viewer and appears to be the largest part of its body. The cat is curled up into a ball with its head nestled into its side and one ear visible. The pencil strokes have an energy to them, as if Manet drew this sketch rather quickly, which he probably did since animals don't stay still very long. The strokes vary in both thickness and darkness, with a white patch on the cat's face. The strokes are hatched in different directions, suggesting fur. And hatching just means these patches of short lines that are grouped together. Finally, there's a few short, messy strokes beneath the cat that look like scribbles almost, and they give a suggestion of the space so that the cat isn't just floating on the page. The second drawing is entitled "A Cat Resting on All Fours, Seen from Behind." The title indicates the viewer's point of view. The cat's backside is closest to us and is placed on the bottom left-hand corner of the page. The cat is positioned diagonally so that its body points slightly towards the right and slightly up the page. We see just the back of the cat's head with its ears pointed outwards. And like in the first drawing, the strokes are quick but confident. There are varying areas of light and dark which give a sense of volume, and the darkest areas are the cat's head and the top of its back. There are also a few quick pencil strokes above the cat's head, giving a sense of space. Now, the cat's position in this drawing is a key element to foreshortening. Foreshortening describes the way an object appears in perspective. Foreshortening is a technique for depicting an object to appear as if it is extending into space. It'll make more sense when we're drawing, so let's go grab our materials. Today I'm drawing in my sketchbook with graphite pencil, and I have an eraser, but you can use any drawing tools you have, whether they be pen or marker. You may want a couple of sheets of paper handy because we're going to make about 3 quick sketches instead of taking one drawing to a more finished place. So I prepped some drawings to help demonstrate foreshortening. In this view, it is a cat in a profile view. So I broke down the parts of the body into the most basic shapes. 2 circles, one for the back end and the front, and 2 lines that form kind of a cylinder shape. And notice how both of these circles are about the same size because they're on the same picture plane, meaning they're the same distance from us, the viewer. Also notice the distance between them. There is a good amount of distance. And these 2 lines that make up the body run parallel to each other. Now when we look at the cat that is foreshortened, this is quite different. So the two circles are quite different sizes. The one that is closer to us is larger, and the one that's farther away is smaller. You'll also notice that these two lines are no longer parallel. This is in perspective, so if we continue these two lines and drew them further away, they would eventually reach a vanishing point. If you want to learn more about perspective drawing, you can watch our first drop-in drawing video. Also notice how the two circles are much closer together, and that's because as the body gets more foreshortened in the cat, it's almost like it's getting more compact and squished together, and that's because the proportions do get distorted in perspective. So those are our main things to keep in mind. The parts of the body that are farther away are smaller, and the proportions get distorted, and it looks like the cat is kind of getting squished closer together the more it gets foreshortened. So let's keep that in mind and draw this cat by Manet. So I'm gonna do a similar thing as in my little demonstrations. So I'm breaking down the cat into the basic shapes, and for this part I can be quick and loose because I can adjust things as I go. I'm also really always going back to the drawing and what I am observing. That is going to help me the most, because when things are in a foreshortened view, sometimes it looks kind of funny the way that it's distorted. So I'm always going to refer back to the original drawing, especially when I am making my drawing more specific in terms of the exact shapes of the cat and the lines that Manet uses. So I think this is actually too far away, so I'm going to adjust this as I go and bring this circle closer together. You can see it is still bigger than the front end. I'm just making sure I like all of these outline shapes, and it seems like things are in the right spot. Okay, maybe I'm gonna erase this part of it. I am drawing harder on the page than I normally do so that you can see it, but usually these beginning parts of the sketches I go pretty light so that I can erase everything well. So I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to move on to the different cross-hatching lines that Manet uses to give a sense of volume to the cat. So you'll notice that here where the body is kind of like a cylinder, to show that the body is round, I'm moving my pencil in a rounded motion. And for the areas that are darker, I'm pressing harder with the pencil on the paper. Again, this portion is in a different direction to give a sense of volume and show that the cat is in fact rounded. The head and the top of the back are pretty dark areas, and the way that the different directions in the lines look, in addition to showing the rounded forms, also give us a sense of the fur here on the cat. I don't want to forget these lines around the cat that I think give the drawing a lot more personality and give us a sense of space to ground us. So that is it in a very quick, basic way. Let's give the next Manet drawing a try. Again, I'm going to start with this back shape for the circle. And this time, the front of the body as well as the circle I draw for the head, are going to be very close together, and they're going to overlap because this body is very foreshortened here and very compact. That's about it. Again, I am observing Manet's lines to really draw these specific shapes of the cat. Here's the ear and the head. And notice how in this part he's really using his lines to make a fur here, which I like. It's kind of pointy there. And I'm going to move my pencil in this direction. It's kind of dark up here. Changing the direction to give it some sense of volume. And I'm adjusting how hard I press the pencil down in order to achieve different shading effects. I also want to mention that copying works of art from other artists is a time-honored tradition that Manet himself participated in. He copied works of art from the Louvre, and the Met has a copyist program as well. Copying from other artists is a great way to learn. And when we copy sketches like this, I find it really fun because we get to really see the artist's hand and all the particular exact strokes that he made with his pencil, as well as I feel like the sketchiness of this drawing really helps us be less precious about what we're making, and it's really just about learning the different forms here. So that's it in a nutshell again with this cat. Going really quick. Maybe if I was going to adjust this, the cat's head could have come down a little bit here, but I think the basic shapes and positions accurately reflect what I'm seeing. Okay, for the last drawing that we're going to do together, I'm going to draw my cat Kiki from a picture, and I really encourage you to draw your pet, or you can search on the Met's website for other works of art with cats in it. There are a lot of them, which is very fun. And when you're drawing the animal from life, this will also help you work fast if they're not staying still. But that's why we're focusing on these quick sketches today. So I like this photo of my cat because the sense of foreshortening here is pretty dramatic. If you look how big her front leg is, it's so much bigger than the back legs, which are so tiny in this view in foreshortened perspective here. I think actually, well, let me draw the face a bit more. It can be different if you're not used to drawing from life or drawing from a photo as opposed to copying another drawing, because you just have to do some kind of translation in your mind of what you're observing and how that relates to what you're going to put on the page. Let's see. The eyes are not perfect circles. They're flatter on the top. And her little nose is about there. Okay. Keeping that in mind, I'm going to fix a little bit how I'm drawing the body. And I am going to change the back circle I drew too far away. But again, these initial marks we make are really just guides to help us. And if you draw lighter, it's easier to erase them as you go. These tiny little legs are so cute back there. And this arm just looks so dramatic. If I was coming up with a cat in my mind, don't think I would have realized how big of a difference it can be when you're looking at something foreshortened in terms of the size of the different body parts. Okay, I'm gonna add some shading to this as well. This part of her head is really dark. And maybe here on the bottom, but it lightens up in the middle of her face. I'm just going really quick to give you a sense of what you can do. And I feel like it mimics Manet's approach here. So let's employ what I was talking about before with our directions of our lines, because this arm is like a big cylinder as well. For this part where the shading is smaller, I can just make a line like that. And those seem to be the darkest parts of the body, but a little bit back here as well. I'm going to curve my lines just to give a sense. And let me erase some of these extra marks that I made. And I don't want to forget the whiskers. And she's looking pretty sketchy, but pretty cute. And that is basically it. I hope that you continue to practice the technique of foreshortening by drawing your pets or other favorite creatures you find online. Use the hashtag #MetSketch when you post to social media, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks for another edition of Drop-In Drawing.